All right. Well, somebody asked about the Comp M5 and my thoughts on it in a group, and I don't have any comparison basis because this is my first Aimpoint product. Um, I know I'm still trying to figure out the whole. I want to change to one of the custom, non-custom freaking turrets. Because the one that it came installed is the custom one, which has no reference points. It's just blank, right? So that makes it a little more confusing when you're at the range. Now you see how the first step it says for changing the turret is to set the turret to setting 1. And it's in big bold letters with a red sign saying, meaning you could probably damage it if you don't. The problem is mine came, and I think this might be an issue at the factory. Mine came with the non-marked, which is the custom one that you have to customize yourself. So I'm a little hesitant to try to remove it based on the requirement being turn the setting to setting 1. Because I don't know where that is on this custom turret. Now, what I did just read made me pause for a second, so I'm going to see if I can get that. Let's read it again. On the removal. Because this is somewhat zero, but I want the standard 556A on there. So I have all my standard reference points. To remove the install the turret, set the installed turret to setting 1. See, that says setting 1, but this has no setting 1. Aha, all right, see, you push, okay, that's what I wasn't sure about. Now, what I don't know is this at setting 1. Or since it's the custom one, does it not have to have the setting 1? Okay, so that might be it. So here's what we're going to do. Now, let me quickly identify the base 556. I believe it's A. Is there a legend? Hold on. Does it identify which ones are what in the beginning? Because you're kind of flying blind with that blank turret when you're at the range and you're trying to dial it in. I'd like some points of reference. The 1, 2, 3, 4, and the A. To see where clockwise you are, to see how far it moves, because this one is blank, which is why I had a bit of trouble with it. I got it zeroed eventually, but it was just a little more confusing than it needed to be. A, B, C, and D turret. It doesn't really identify what's what so far. Here it is, A. It's still not specifying caliber. 2 over 308, 2 over 556. I know that, but which 2? I'm guessing. Let's say there's one that goes 1 through 4, B goes 1 through 5, C goes 1 through 4, and D goes 1 through 7. I'm guessing 7 is definitely a 308. You're going to be shooting much longer distance with a 308. But it would have been nice if they specified that so you don't have to guess. Setting MOA mills 1 through 4, turret A. Okay, so alright, so we've got, where's the 4th one? Alright, so we got A, B, C, and D. Okay, A, 1 through 4, B, 1 through 5, C, also 1 through 4. Is there any difference in the spacing or no? Okay, well, let's go with A. I guess it doesn't specify, which I'm surprised it doesn't. It's Aimpoint. You think they'd have all the bases covered. Now, essentially what you've got to do is push this up. But then, aha. Okay, so that you push this forward and this just lifts right off, easy peasy. Okay. So what we're going to do now Sorry. I'm trying to figure this out. All right, so there's our custom turret, which we are going to customize once we do that, but we're going to go with standard A, so I have some points of reference. Now, it does mention that you want this to go on at setting 1. So the 1 has to be identified. I can't really get an overhead view for you, but so we want that. Let me get on this side. Okay, so the 1, so you're going to push forward. Okay. There we go. So now that little pinpoint, which I'll show you right now, see how that little leading edge of this guy right here, where's my thumb? Is there something I can point with? Okay, so let me get up above it. I'm having a hard time seeing it myself. Yeah, okay. So this guy here is pointing directly at 1. Now, popping on that new turret probably just killed my 0 that I had. I'm guessing. So obviously I'm going to have to re-0. But now you can see I have points of reference. I got the 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've got the A. The blank one. I'm not really sure why you would want the custom turret. I mean, when you can just use the standard one. Why would you want... You can use the tool to mark it yourself. But I'm trying to figure out... I mean, this is probably way above my pay grade and my abilities, and will be for quite a while. This is for, like, real deal operator guys and shit, but... See, there's no points of reference visually. So when you're trying to 0 it, you're trying to look for something to get some sort of gauge how far you've moved it. You know what I mean? At least with this, you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, you have the A. So you can take a picture of it, or you can just take a quick, mental note. And then as you adjust it and these start to move, I don't know. I thought that would be beneficial to have some sort of visual reference. So now that that has the new turret on there, which is the standard A, which I assume is for 5.56, it does not specify. A, B, C, D. There's 2 1 through 4s, a 1 through 5, and a 1 through 7. And I've been patiently waiting for other dudes that are a lot more experienced to pick these up and make a video on how to best apply these different turrets and these feature sets in a practical way. Like something the M5B has that the standard S doesn't have, what I think it doesn't have, is the ability to adjust for the windage on the fly, depending on how extreme the winds are freaking picking up. And in the book, it uses some weird analogy of look for the nearest tree, and if the leaves are moving this much, here it is. Wind characteristics. Light wind, leaves are moving. Moderate wind, thin branches are moving. Strong wind, small trees and branches are moving. Which I guess you can get a gauge that way. And then basically with the flip of setting 1 to 2 to 3, I guess that's a way to fast track, like a macro, fast track for higher winds without having to try to slowly dial it in. And I mean, don't forget, these are being sold to the real operator guys that are out there that kill bad guys for a living. They don't have time to stop and be delicate with their adjustments. So I totally get that. And then over here, that's where the tool would go in to do the customization after you remove that, I believe. You screw that out with the tool, you put your custom turret in, and then you basically insert that tool and you basically create your small little pivot, little pocket there. Now what I just did may or may not have completely screwed my 0. I won't know until I get back to the range. I can throw my laser bore in there, but as I've proven through trying to do some laser adjustments in the house, then I get to the range and it's still way off. I don't think that's really very helpful for me. But I'd rather just go to the range and do it than start setting up paper plates and opening doors and all this crazy shit. It's like, fuck it, just go to the range, man. With a few shots, you can figure out where you are. With a few more tweaks and a few more shots, you should be close to where you need to be. So, all right, so cool. We got that turret on. That's cool. So you just push that forward, pop that off. I still have to figure out what the purpose of the different turrets are. Why are there 2 1 through 4s, A and C? Why would you need 2 of the same? Is it, is one just a backup in case you lose one? Let's see. It doesn't really say. Comp M5B is fitted with interchangeable ballistic turrets for quick elevation adjustments calculated for projectile drop. Current setting is shown next to the locking tab. Okay. Turret A, B, C, D, zeroing and the elevation adjustments with the mils and the MOA. But you see, it doesn't really tell you what each one's for. Are you supposed to assign that value yourself based on your best practice and use scenario? I don't know. There's removing. Only remove install ballistic turrets when the locking tab is pointing to setting 1 on the ballistic turret. Okay. Always perform zeroing if the turret has been changed or replaced. Okay. Use the sight without ballistic. Do not ever use the sight without ballistic or wind turret installed. And do not turn the exposed mechanism when the turret has been removed. Realign the ballistic turret. Okay. Which I didn't turn it. I just popped it right on. So we'll have to re-zero. That's fine. I need practice anyway. Okay. Always perform zeroing if ballistic turret has been changed. Always perform zeroing with the ballistic turret set to 1. So 1 is and the wind correction set to 0. Wind is set to 0. There it is, right? Takes quite a bit of pressure to move these. You can tell quality, dude. It's fucking Aimpoint. It's awesome. And you want that. Each click of the adjustment screws corresponds to 10 millimeters of movement. Point of impact at 100 meters. 20 millimeters at 200. Okay, that makes sense. Up is counterclockwise. And counterclockwise on the windage is right. I have this also in PDF on my phone, but wind correction. The Comp M5B is fitted with a wind correction turret for quick windage adjustments to compensate for drift of the projectile in light, moderate, or strong crosswinds. To account for crosswind from your left-hand side, turn the turret in the L direction clockwise to move the point of impact, POI, to the left. To account for crosswind from your right-hand side, turn the turret in the R direction counterclockwise to move the POI to the right. Makes sense. Then you have all your windage correction values, different mils, different distances. Leaves kind of shaky, leaves and branches moving, hurricane, okay? Custom turret and custom turret ring. Now see, you remove that screw. You pop on your custom turret, obviously, first. And then you remove that screw. A, B, and then you essentially stick that in and turn it to create a dimple. That's cool. What I'm trying to understand is why you would even want that or need that. Meaning, what does that help you accomplish that these standard turrets don't? And, create a custom elevation. Okay, and I'm sure, I just need to wrap my head around why. Odds are somebody as limited an experience as me is probably not going to use that to its full potential or even a small percentage of it until much later on. 3 extreme conditions: extreme heat, extreme cold, no procedures needed. Now, the mount I did remove because I'm rocking currently the ScalarWorks and soon to be the Unity Fast riser. Realigning the ballistic turret. If the exposed mechanism has been turned, when the turret has been removed, it might be impossible to install the turret again. Ah, okay. Well, I didn't turn mine, but it gives you steps on how to realign it. Alright. So, here's our custom turret. I wish I had a little dot or some point of reference. I mean, you do have that little small piece at the very top, but it's black. It's easy to miss. I guess I could mark it with a little bit of Loctite blue or something, like a grease pen or something. I don't think I'd want to take a center punch to it because it may alter the diameter somehow, and it wouldn't properly fit. You know, a little too much pressure with just to make a little dimple for reference. But I'm not going to do that. And this guy's 1 through 7. I gotta think that he's for the 308. But I don't get is the C is just like the A, 1 through 4. The spacing of the numbers is identical. Then you have 1 through 5. So that's, I'm guessing 5 and 7 are definitely 308. A and C, or meaning, yeah. What's that? B and D are probably 308, 1 through 5, 1 through 7. A and C are both 1 through 4. They appear to be identical. I don't see any differences whatsoever. And we adjust both with this special key, which I have on the forward controls carabiner, just to avoid losing it, to give it something. Put it in the range bag. And now we have our marked turret. I'll feel better because I'll have some sort of visual point of reference at the range. Alright. So we'll have to re-zero, obviously, because we have the new turret on there. And once the fast arrives, it comes off the ScalarWorks. It goes on the fast. We'll have our Aimpoint magnifier on the Aimpoint Unity mount with the center flip up. This guy will jump up a little bit. This is 157. Well, actually a little more than a little bit because it's going to skip 193 and go right to 226. So it's going to be pretty tall. I had one before. I had that FDE one that I traded for Andrew when he made those all the Jake America mags for me, which is really awesome of him. And I kind of miss having one. I know they're more for nods and shit, but maybe one day I'll get one. But I kind of like, with my big fat head and neck and shit, I think it's going to be, I know the height over bore is a lot more intense, and you have to train on how to zero in on shots closer than, say, 15 yards and in, because your height over bore is so high. You think you're aiming at an attacker at sub 15 yards, and you're actually over his head, you know, so you have to learn to, and that's all. One way you can correct that is train. I get that. I'm going to be devoting a lot of time to that, obviously. But yeah, cool. Now, 1 through 4. Now, once you're zeroed, the whole purpose of the 1 through whatever setting is to make adjustments. But what's the criteria? Does it tell you? Okay. 0, 2.4 MOA, 5.3, and 8.8. So essentially, it's a bit of like a macro, like a cheat code. Where your standard dot or whatever, you would just have to keep dialing and trying. This gives you some ranges that you can jump right over 2.4, 5.3, and 8.8 MOA. Or in mils, 0.72, 1.58, and 261. And you correlate that with something visual. I'm still struggling to understand the practical application of it. I'd like to see a video by a real deal operator dude, like a Grand Thumb type person. Basically, just do a deep dive on this Comp M5. I'd really love to see that. I don't want to be the guy to make that video because I don't know enough about Aimpoint in general. I'm going to make an attempt to put it all together and present factual information. So I don't, I don't want to fucking mislead somebody either, What's up with my focus? This is the Note 20 I'm using because the flash. Let me take a picture of that. Here. All right. Well, we got our thing on. Okay, so it's just easy peasy. Pop that up, lift off. Make sure you're on setting 1 when both removing and installing that turret. Easy peasy. Mastering the use of the turrets in practical application. I don't know yet. I gotta figure it out. Why did I get the M5B and not just make it a little simple on myself and go with the S? It wasn't that much more. It's a brand new product. I saw it as an opportunity for something to have fun with and learn. And it's also new, so I figured if I make a few videos on it, people might appreciate that. It wasn't that much more. I think it was 50 to 75 over what the M5S was. And I figured it had, going forward, as I do gain more experience, it has a lot of benefits that might come into play on some level. Maybe. I don't know. So I figured, why not? Why not get something that's new and has brand new features? They obviously they didn't put all that money into R&D and design and production to come out with it just because it was a bit of a gimmick. It must have a practical application purpose to these changes. Whether I'm ever going to really use them to their full potential, no, probably not. But I still want to mess with it. And maybe I can make some videos that the next guy that does know his shit pulls out basic information that he's not sure about from my bullshit video, and then, that friggin' helps him. Cool. All right, sir. Well, you need to be re-zeroed. I'm trying to figure out, do I bother shooting down to the range to zero on the scalar works when I'm just going to have to re-zero it once the fast shows up? Big time re-zero, because it's going to be up to bloody here. So I think just to conserve some ammo, I've been putting off going shooting long enough. I can wait another few days. We'll get that fast on there. It's going to be a cool little combo with that flip, with that Aimpoint 3X. Looking forward to that. Another reason I really wanted to do some sort of magnification. I know a lot of people say, like Noah, don't bother, waste of money. My astigmatism. Even though this Aimpoint Comp M5B is surprisingly clear to my eye, it's still very slanted, It's got a bit of a comet effect. That's just the nature of having an astigmatism. But as I recall, when I used my Holosun magnifier on my Holosun dots, which are few and far between, it really brought that single dot much more. It made it much more clear. Here it is. This is the original 403B that I first bought, the first one I ever bought. And if I dial that up a bit, and I look at it with my naked eye, versus, well, good luck. See if we can get it clarity. Really hard to capture dots on cameras and phones, eh? Yeah, okay, so it's a fool's errand. Anyway, it makes it a bit more clear to my shitty eyes. And if it helps me zoom out like a 3x prism type logic, so be it. Cool. And yeah, that should rock. Alright, that's about it for this one. I just was curious. I wanted to get the other turret on there just for visual points of reference. Once I figure out exactly why you want to customize a turret and under what preconditions it would help you, despite it having no visual markings to do it, we'll revisit that in a future video. And we'll figure out this whole thing with the tool. I was also holding off because I don't want to damage it. It's a $1,000 plus optic. I don't want to fuck it up. And that's a drill bit. Basically it's a handheld fucking drill bit. Don't want to screw it up. Screws, even the screws are heavy duty. Look at that shit. Fucking Aimpoint, dude. Their mount was pretty cool. So I may reuse that. Maybe I should put that on this 403 for whatever reason. I don't know. It's a solid mount. It's Aimpoint. Okay, that's it. Let me move forward and get some more stuff done. Well, at least I got that turret on. Awesome.